Hi, I'm Rick.
Hi, I'm Oscar.
Oscar, we had Ignite.
Yes.
And then there was a lot of stuff happening during Ignite. Also about Cosmos DB, I think.
Well, indeed. I dove into that a bit because we had the Book of News and there's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
But my eye fell on the Cosmos DB because I kind of like the service, let's say that.
It's an awesome service.
It's an awesome service. And I saw 4 updates that were interesting. And one I want to dive a bit deeper in for this one, but let's go through them.
Okay.
I just grabbed them from the Book of News. So a few things became generally available. For instance, Azure Synapse link.
Yeah.
We can do a talk on Synapse.
Yeah.
That's
the new name
session.
of Azure SQL Data Warehouse, right?
Indeed. But you have all kinds of connectors coming in, and because you want your data there.
Yeah.
But Synapse link is now for Cosmos DB is generally available, so it's full service. Use it in production. It's there. Next, Mongo 4.0 interface
Nice.
or API. From 4, they went to transactional multi-document. Like the Mongo API really changed. So that's also generally available. So if you have a workload that was built for Mongo, you can now, and built for Mongo 4 as the API, it's also available. Because we were always saying, Cosmos DB, you can just shift from, if you're built for Mongo, because we have the API, you just click it and it's there. But it's also evolving, right? Yeah, indeed. Like that stack is moving on. Gets new features, and they need to be mapped to what Cosmos can do. Well, sure. Cosmos has those options internally, of course, but it will take a time to follow up on that. 4.0 is also generally available.
Okay.
So that's really nice. Next up, the role-based access control, also now available in preview.
That was something that we were still missing on Cosmos DB, right?
Yeah, that was Yeah, definitely. Well, you see all the services that are just start at some point when this wasn't a big thing yet, you see it popping over, and we're using identity everywhere, and like it's getting a lot better. But these kinds of services really need this.
Yeah,
we cannot do without anymore. Sometimes you come across to a service like I'm using this everywhere. Why doesn't this support RBAC?
Sure.
So it's now in preview. You can also check that out.
But it does already support managed identity, does it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I'm guessing. I'll find that out. But I'm saying instantly yes. But I have to check. Like I wasn't in the code lately. But the one I wanted to zoom in was something that was, well, for me personally, in some projects, a bit of a thing because the backup policy in Cosmos is something different. Yeah. And we really got spoiled with the point-in-time restore from SQL. Yeah. There was a periodic backup available, also not since ever. And you can say, well, I have 2 copies or 3 copies, and I want to snapshot them once a day. So that was there. That was already a good thing because then we can really also put that check in place if we want to build a production-ready application. But the point-in-time restore is now in preview.
Cool. And how much, I mean, for SQL by default, I think it's 7 days, and then you can up it to 35 days. What's that for Cosmos DB?
So we have a 30-day, I'm going to show you, point-in-time restore. But there are some, well, I don't know if it's a limitation for preview, but there are some things to consider. Okay. At the moment, you can only set it when creating an account. So if you create a new Cosmos account and you already did, like at the moment it's not available for switching. Okay. And I'm guessing this is a preview thing because it's a lot of work to actually make that.
I'm hoping
switch
this is
backward.
a preview thing.
Yeah, otherwise you need to pull your data over, and that is interesting.
It's an interesting scenario. Yeah.
I would say this will be solved later on. I wouldn't know why not. Because that is definitely one of the powers. I wouldn't know. You will really get stuck with you having a current production environment. There's no way out. No. And it is limited to only the APIs, though the core API, the SQL endpoint, as we also name it, and the MongoDB one.
Okay, but that's, I think, not strange, because all of the things that become available in preview on Cosmos, most of them start out on the core API and on Mongo.
It's indeed always these kinds of limitations.
Yeah.
I also found yesterday that I wanted to enable the Synapse link,
Yeah.
but I had the point-in-time restore on,
Yeah.
and I got this message that you see here on the bottom. So that is a limitation maybe for now, but I can imagine it's also the setup because it has that continuous export.
Okay.
So also interesting to point out, it's preview. Let's say that.
Yes, it's preview, and then anything goes.
Anything goes. So first off, if you create an account, just open the window where you would normally say, well, fill in the basics, give it a name, give it a resource group, and you select the API. So this is the Mongo, or in this case, so Mongo or core. Location, the throughput, serverless preview is still there. We had a talk on that one.
Yes.
So setting all this up as you're used to, going to networking, well, skip this for now, and then you go into backup policy. And backup policy now has a switch here between periodic and continuous preview.
Nice.
So if you click well, let's go first in the periodic, then you can say, this is the interval, so every 240 minutes. This is the retention, like 8 hours.
Yeah.
But you can put it 2 days, and the amount of copies you retain is then calculated here constantly.
Yeah.
And there's a price, because that's a price per gigabyte per copy, and the first 2 are free.
You're storing data, right?
So the default one is included, the default setup like it is here.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, I want the retention to be 8 days instead of 8 hours. You will get 48 copies because of
Which
this.
is 46 more than you had initially. So it's normal that there comes a price for it, that there's a price.
Indeed, like depending on how much they need to store, this will have a price. But also because of you need to conform to a certain policy, it might be that you have one of these setups with 48 or even 100 copies constantly because you needed to comply. Well, then this continuous preview is much more interesting. You click this open, like there's also no choice anymore. But this
it just says continuous.
Yeah,
there.
it's everywhere. So you see here the retention periodic is immutable 30 days. So any point in time restore till 30 days back. And you see a quick calculation example, which says the monthly cost, so monthly, for the backup, the continuous backup, is like $20 per gigabyte.
Which is like...
So this would be $4 a month to enable this feature.
Does it calculate this based on the amount of storage that they expect you to use, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is stored data. So there's a storage cost and the I/O cost in Cosmos. This is purely based on the storage cost.
Okay.
And the restore, like if you're like, oh, I had continuous backup of, no, in this case, 10 gigs, which cost me €4 a month. Well, okay, that's an extra cup of coffee.
Yeah.
If I need it, it will cost me a mind-blowing $150 to restore that same 10 gigs. The only thing is, from that moment, you will have a second instance with the snapshot, like you have in SQL.
Okay.
So it works kind of the same. So the pricing, unless you have terabytes in there, I think you will be able to survive this one, comparing to the what they sometimes call, why they sometimes call it Cosmos DB. You can.
They're working on it.
You
right?
can
they
spend.
They have the free tier now, and they have this.
And then this auto scale, but it's still you yourself who screws up the I/O and really blows up the bill.
True.
But comparing to that, this is insurance. Like, why not enable this?
And that's what that's exactly what this is about, right? You're ensuring yourself that if anything goes wrong, if somebody pushes wrong stuff into your database, that you have a point-in-time restore.
It's
for
indeed
30
for
days.
that, because it isn't for redundancy, because
that's
something completely different. Backup is different from redundancy and stuff, because this service is up. It's there. Your data as you left it will be there, and I cannot imagine what needs to happen to some data centers to destroy your data. So that is solved, but it's a completely different problem because if you have some dev, even with a lot of experience, sometimes you make a mistake and you might push out a job that should correct some data and just wipes everything.
Yeah, or completely garbles it and then nothing's useful anymore.
So like you can still do that because you check it in, you put it to master, someone's like, yeah, it's fine, and everything's gone in production.
Yeah, I actually talked to somebody yesterday who ran something locally on his machine and he was clicking around and then he got a call. Are you working in production? No, I'm just working on my local machine. What's your connection string? Oh crap. So
oh yeah, I was debugging Friday afternoon.
Doing stuff in production.
Yeah. Let's not do that, but
true.
Just to ensure us to these kinds of, you have access somehow and
Yeah, that's actually a whole different talk, right?
That's
about role-based access control.
How you should do that.
Yes. So let's
but
do
still,
one, by the way.
there is always a possibility that something gets shipped and doesn't act like you were thinking it would act.
Yes.
And that's why you have the backup. So looking at I'm going to an instance that is already set up, has some data in it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do the restore because the restore, I did it yesterday with a couple of KBs, took me 15 minutes, so let's not wait for it.
Okay.
But I can show you the point-in-time restore tab here. So you open it.
Do you always have it or only when you have it enabled?
Well, if you look at one of the old ones, it's not there.
Okay, so if you have it enabled, then it's there.
Yeah, I don't know, I have 4 Cosmos DBs here. I have to check my build just in case. So this is the continuous backup, and then we have the point-in-time restore tab. What you do, you start with the time. When do you want to go? So it's what we used to do the SQL, like I've used it once or twice, like it's mostly in insurance indeed. You pick the location. So in this case, you can do this. This is the resource group. And this is the new account. Because if you're doing a restore, you're creating a new Cosmos account. That's why we are filling in locations and resource groups and stuff. Mm-hmm. You're creating a new one with a snapshot of the old one that you want. So it's side by side. Programmatically, you can make some decisions then. Because maybe you just want to pinpoint some things and pull them out.
Yes.
Or you actually like, well, I'll go back in time and swap my connection strings to that one.
And I'll be done. But then, will this new instance have the same settings as your old?
Oh, that's interesting because there's a continuous restore next to it. That's restored from this account. First, what I wanted to show you is if you go further, you also select the containers. Like if you only want to restore that one container and not everything,
oh, that's nice.
You can just pick it.
That's nice.
In this case, I also restored one with on container less, and indeed, it is a complete snapshot also of your settings because you don't want to. Oh, let's restore this as a Mongo. No, that's not going to happen. But also the point-in-time restore is available on this one. So from this one, I can go back further. So if you're really in a mess, it's like, I don't know when it was right. Let's restore 5 from yesterday, the day before.
That was not the one. Let's go back even further.
Yeah, and you can really do that.
And then when you're done, you go back to the future? Okay.
Yeah, yes. That's another one. So this shows that, this is there now. The technology is coming. It's in preview. I think, it will definitely pull some restrictions that you have, pull you over that ledge to start using Cosmos instead of one of the other services.
One question I had. You said restoring took me almost 15 minutes for not too much data.
Yeah.
Do you have the idea that this is because it's in preview and maybe there's not enough resources available?
I'm guessing it's mostly that.
Or is it connected to your RUs that you have available for your database, that it just takes more time if it's
I didn't
low?
think about that because I did have it on a 400 RUs. One of them is actually in my free tier, so it's is that. So it might be limited on that. On the other hand, that would be interesting because that would also mean that next to the cost, we also have that cost. If you would have it on auto scale, you would blow up the price, and it doesn't say anything in the calculation.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's mostly because of preview. They have these services running on a limited cluster for now.
They have one machine somewhere in each data center that enables this.
Oh, that's why you run preview. It's also for them to figure out like what does do real life scenarios do with our service, and how do we need to set that up.
Totally true.
But for me, at least 1 or 2 projects where in the past we said, well, we cannot do it because of compliance there. this is just checking all the boxes, and we can continue.
Okay. And then probably as soon as it goes out of preview, we might get more options, as in
I'm guessing we can switch between those, and it might be only a one-time upgrade or whatever, or a long one. But I think we need to have this in also the table endpoint or anything.
Yes.
And we should, in the end, also be able to switch from the restore points to the point-in-time restore.
Yeah.
Because it's really bad news if you now tell a team, "Oh, this is there." Not for you.
Bummer.
Yeah. So that was it. My Cosmos news that was most interesting to me.
Well, it is actually very interesting. So I am going to be creating a Cosmos DB with continuous enabled and just play with it around a bit. Thanks so very much.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.